Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, friends and families. Hope this video finds you in the best state of mind and iman. All praise and thanks belong to Almighty Allah, the Lord of the worlds, and may the peace and blessing of Allah be on the noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will be sharing with you the story of Prophet Isa. Prophet Isa was the prophet sent before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Isa was also the last messenger sent to the people of Israel. Allah has bestowed a special favor on the family of Prophet Isa by mentioning his name 25 times in the Quran. His mother's name, Maryam, also mentioned 31 times as well. Prophet Zechariah was the guardian of Maryam, which is Prophet Isa's mother. Maryam was the daughter of Prophet Ibrahim. Prophet Zechariah took care of this little girl, Maryam, and he built a separate room for her in the temple. As Maryam grew up, she spent her time in devotion to Allah. Prophet Zechariah taught and guided her, and Maryam grew to be a pious woman that glorifies Allah day and night. One day, Maryam was praying in her room as usual, and then an angel appeared before her in the form of a man. Maryam was terrified and thought the man was there to harm her, and she shouted, "I seek refuge with Allah from you." Then the angel said, "I am only a messenger of your Lord to you. I was sent to give you a pious son who is pure from sins." Maryam became calm and asked the angels, "How can I have a son when no man has touched me?" The angels replied her, "That is very easy for Allah. Allah will make him a sign for the people and an indication of the power of Allah." The angel's visit made Maryam very tense, and this increased as the days passed by. Maryam kept wondering how she would give birth to a child without having a husband. After a few months, she could not bear the mental torture anymore. She then left the city without knowing where to go. Maryam had not gone far when she suddenly felt a severe pain in her belly. She sat down on a palm tree and rested her back, and it was there that she gave birth to a son. Maryam carried the son she just had and looked at him. She kept wondering, how did she bring a child into this world without a father? And she kept screaming, "I wish I had died before this happened." Then suddenly she heard the voice of an angel that told her, "Grieve not," the voice assured her. Allah has placed a small river there, and shake the trunk of this tree from which dried dates will fall. Eat and drink and regain the strength you have lost, he told Maryam again. What happened to you is the power of Allah. Maryam drank from the river and ate the ripe dates, and she became comforted by Allah's miracle. She stood up after some time and decided to return to the city. Then her fears returned, and she kept thinking of what she's going to tell the people. Then another miracle happened. The baby she just gave birth to a few hours ago started to speak, and the baby told Maryam to tell the people she has decided to fast for Allah and does not want to speak to anyone for that day. And this made Maryam feel at ease, and she walked towards the city. As expected, her arrival in the city with the newborn baby in her hands aroused the curiosity of the people. They started scolding her, but Maryam kept quiet all through, and this made the people angry. Then the baby spoke gently and clearly, "I am Allah's servant. Allah has given me the book and made me her prophet, and he has made me dutiful to the one who gave birth to me." The people were astonished as they saw the baby speaking. They realized that the child was unique and that it was Allah's will, of course. So some people regarded the baby's speech as a strange trick. Maryam was allowed to remain in the city without being harassed, and Prophet Yusuf was greatly surprised when he heard the story of Maryam. He asked her, "Can a tree grow without a seed?" And she replied him, "Yes. The one which Allah created the first time, which is Prophet Adam, grew without a seed." Prophet Yusuf also asked Maryam again, "Is it possible to bear a child without a partner?" And Maryam replied to him, "Yes, Allah created Prophet Adam without the male and the female partner." So the baby Maryam had was named Isa. As Isa grew, the prophecies began to grow. When Isa was 12 years old, he accompanied his mother to Jerusalem, and when they arrived at the temple in Jerusalem, Isa wandered around the temple, and he entered into her room where people were listening to the lectures of a priest. Isa was the youngest in the room at that time, and he was not afraid to sit with the adults in the room. After listening to the priest for some time, Isa stood up and started asking questions. The priests were disturbed with the questions Isa was asking because he couldn't give him an answer to his questions. And the priest tried to silence Isa, but he kept ignoring him and kept asking questions and expressing his opinions. Isa was so engrossed in this conversation with the priest that he completely forgot about his mom. And meanwhile, Maryam had left the temple because she thought Isa might have returned back to the house. Maryam got to the house and realized Isa was not in the house. She ran back to the city to find him. And she searched for some time and then found him sitting among the learned and conversing with them. Maryam got angry with him, and Isa calmed her that he lost track of time because he was debating with the priest, and he and his mother returned back to the house. Prophet Isa was a pious worshipper of Allah, and he followed the rules of the Torah strictly. The Torah is the book given to Prophet Musa. So one day, on Sabbath day, the prophet went to the temple and was surprised to find more than 20,000 priests inside the temple. Prophet Isa was surprised that there were more priests than visitors in the temple. The visitors in the temple were even asked to pay some amount of money before they can walk around the temple. Prophet Isa realized the priests were only after money because they turned the temple into a marketplace. The poor people who could not afford to pay were asked to leave the temple. Then at night, Prophet Isa got a revelation from Allah, commanding him to begin his call to the people of Israel. Then Prophet Isa reinforced the law of Prophet Musa to his people. Prophet Isa asked his people to live a simple life by doing good deeds and by saying good words only. Prophet Isa tried to make the priests understand that the 10 Commandments have more value than all they have been doing. And this annoyed the priest, and they knew Prophet Isa was a threat to their position. The priests then started plotting against Isa. So one day, they arrested a woman who was accused of adultery. They called Prophet Isa to ask of his opinion. The priest had the intention of embarrassing the prophet in front of the people, because according to the law of Musa, anyone involved in adultery had to be stoned to death. And the priest knew that Prophet Isa would oppose to killing the adulterous woman, and this would make Isa speak against the law of Musa. So the adulterous woman was brought before Prophet Isa, and Prophet Isa said, "Whoever among you that is sinless can stone her." The priests were surprised to hear this, and the prophet standing around, and the people standing around there also hesitated. No one present there could stone the woman, for they were all sinners. So Prophet Isa left the temple. As he was leaving, the woman followed him. The prophet then realized he was being followed, and he stopped. Then he asked the woman why she was following him. The woman became silent and took out a bottle of perfume from her garment. She knelt before the prophet and washed his feet with the perfume, and she started crying. Prophet Isa was touched by her actions, and he asked her to stand up. Then Prophet Isa looked up and prayed, "O Lord, forgive our sins." So Prophet Isa continued preaching about Islam to his people, emphasizing kindness to one another. Prophet Isa once saw a blind man who was paralyzed and a leper. The prophet heard the man saying, "Praise be to Allah, who has protected me from the trials which he afflicts the majority of men with." The prophet stopped walking and asked the man, "Tell me, which trials remain for you to be afflicted with? You are blind, leprous, and paralyzed." But the man replied, "Allah protected me from the greatest of all trials, and that is disbelief." Prophet Isa was happy with the response of the man. He stepped forward and placed his hand on the man's shoulder. As soon as the prophet touched the man, his disease was cured and he was able to stand up. The man then sought permission from the prophet to accompany him, and Prophet Isa agreed. The old man then became a companion of the prophet and started worshipping with him. Prophet Isa kept following the Torah until he received a revelation from Allah. Allah now gave Prophet Isa a new book called the Injil, and the prophet read this book, which has been revealed to him by Allah. Prophet Isa announced to his people that he has received a new book from Allah, and the people following the Torah did not accept the Injil. Prophet Isa was blessed with performing lots of miracles. Many of the miracles Prophet Isa performed include curing the sick, most especially the untreatable sickness. Prophet Isa would put his hand on the face of a man who was born blind, and he got cured of his blindness. One day, when the prophet was walking to the town, he saw a procession taking place. Prophet Isa approached them and asked what was going on. They replied him that the man was dead and they had taken him to the cemetery. The prophet then asked them to stop, and he prayed to Allah, and the dead man stood up alive. Allah brought this person back to life just like that. Then, one day, Prophet Isa asked his supporters to fast for 30 days. His followers agreed and they started fasting. After completing the fast, the followers alongside Prophet Isa walked to the desert. Some of the disbelievers also followed them. And when they got to the desert, the disbelievers asked Prophet Isa if they could get a spread of food from the sky. And they told the prophet that the food has to be enough for everyone present. At that time, there were about thousands of people present in the desert. And the disbelievers knew Prophet Isa would not be able to ask Allah to make such provisions, and they were ready to mock him. Prophet Isa agreed to their request and he prayed to Allah. Allah answered his prayer, and a huge spread of food descended right from the sky. And there were 7 big fish, 7 loaves of bread, vinegar, salt, honey, and many other fruits. The prophet asked the disbelievers to eat from the spread, but they replied, "We will not eat from it until we see you, Isa, eat from it." Prophet Isa then asked the blind, the poor, the sick to eat from the spread, and they all ate from it to their satisfaction. All the sick people who ate from the spread got cured. It was like a miracle. And the disbelievers were now sad because they had refused to eat from it when they were invited. The news of the feast traveled fast and it reached the city. Thousands of people traveled to witness this feast, and the numbers of people now wanting to eat from the feast had doubled. And the prophet asked them to take thorns while eating. Several days passed, and everyone present there ate to their fill. Then, after 40 days, Allah asked the prophets to allow only the poor to eat from the feast. The prophet warned the people to be honest and asked the rich to stay away from the feast. He also asked the poor not to take away the food to save for the next day, but the people did not listen. The rich ate from the feast and pretended to be poor, and many poor people took the food to their house. And as a result of this, the spread of food was lifted back into the sky. The people talked about this miracle for many years and they were convinced about Allah's miracle. When Prophet Isa turned 30, the priest had become angry at him and they made plans to kill him. One night, Prophet Isa was sitting alone with his 12 companions in his house. Then the prophet said, "One among you is going to betray me," and this was Judas. Judas had gone to meet the head priest that day, and he asked the priest, "What will you give me if I deliver Isa to you?" And the priest replied, "We will give you 30 pieces of shekels." Realizing that the prophet already knew of the betrayal, Judas became ashamed of himself and left the room. The prophet then told the other companions that the priest's soldiers were already on their way to arrest him and asked them who will take his place instead. So a young man among the companions stood up and agreed to take the place of Prophet Isa, and this man was arrested and crucified in place of Prophet Isa. Before the young man was crucified, Prophet Isa was raised from the window in the corner of the house, and Prophet Isa is now alive in the 7th heaven, and he shall descend before the day of judgment. This story explains that Prophet Isa preached a message of monotheism, righteousness, and compassion. He emphasized the importance of living a life of virtue and piety. He also taught about the importance of the Torah, which was revealed to Prophet Musa, and he made some modifications to the existing laws for his followers. As Muslims, we believe that Prophet Isa will return to the earth before the day of judgment. He will descend to defeat the false Messiah, which is Dajjal, and he will establish peace and justice on earth. The return of Prophet Isa would also be seen as a fulfillment of prophecy and a sign of end times. I hope you find this video inspiring, and I hope we strive to be better Muslims as well. Jazakumullah khairan for listening to this video. Kindly subscribe to my channel and turn on post notification button so you get alerted when I drop a new video. Please like and comment as well. I will see you in my next video, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.